In this video, I test out my best Alhaitham teams in version 3.7 of the Abyss. If you missed my last video where I ranked Alhaitham's best weapons, artifacts, and teams, then you should definitely check that video out first. I'll add the link in the description, or just head over to my channel page. While you're there, smash that subscribe button. These videos take a lot of time and effort to create, so it would really mean a lot to have your support. Okay, now let's get into it. So I was originally going to test a handful of the teams that I tested in the Overworld from my last video, but because it was taking me so long in the second half, I decided to cut it down to my top 4 teams instead. Also threw in my second best team where I equipped Deepwood Memories on Alhaitham, which is just a variant of my first place team. So here are the 5 teams that I tested. The 2 Hyperbloom variants, one with Alhaitham wearing Gilded Dreams, the other with Deepwood Memories, and Bountiful Cores, Spread, and Burgeon teams. Originally, I was going to do just a single run for each team, but then I was hit in the face with reality. In my experience, the Abyss is mostly down to RNG, so like in my Overworld testing, I decided it would be best to get an average of 3 runs for each team. However, there were a couple of times that I had to redo a run, mostly because my second team failed, so I only kept track of my successful runs. So I tried not to change anything about these teams, but in a couple teams I ended up having to switch a couple artifacts around because I needed more energy recharge. Other than that, I kept everything else the same. Like in my previous video, I kept track of each team's clear time, their highest single strike damage, and how much damage per second they were able to do in each chamber. You usually need to clear each half in at least 90 seconds to get 36 stars, so I decided to keep track of the difference to this 90-second target time. To figure out the DPS, I needed to know how much total HP is in each chamber. I know that most mobs receive HP and attack boosts in the Abyss, so based on the information I found on the Genshin wiki, I figured in an HP bonus of 150% into my calculation. This means that floor 12 has a total of 9,295,607 health. If you spot anything wrong here, let me know in the comments. My calculation doesn't figure in each mob's shield strength, but otherwise I did my best to make sure this was as accurate as possible. Okay, so here's a refresher. This is how my top 4 teams scored in my Overworld testing, and this is how all my teams that I tested scored. If you're curious as to why he's using Gilded Dreams and the Black Sword in every other team, then check out my previous video on Alhaitham. I also tested many different artifacts and weapons, so I'm sure you'll like it. Okay, now let's get to the results for this video. Starting with floor 1, I didn't have much luck reaching my 90-second target time with any of these teams, but that could be down to my artifacts or lack of investment into most of my characters. I usually don't rank up anyone's skills above 6, and I think this plays a role in these lengthy times. All teams were tested in the first half of floor 12, except for this Burgeon team. I moved them to the second half where they were a bit more successful. My first run with this team in the second half was a breeze, no pun intended. I made it all the way through to the end of chamber 3 and I really didn't run into any issues. Then, for some reason, when I went back to do my second run, I wasn't able to get past the first chamber. Again, this was mostly down to Bennett not being a super reliable healer, and these dumb Abyss Heralds with their bag full of shenanigans really didn't help things. So I took a day off from testing to try to catch up on some quests. After meeting a new friend, I decided to give it another shot the next day. I was hoping the sassy floating bottle would bring me some luck, and again, I was able to clear the Abyss with hardly any issues the first time, but then my luck ran out. So this team has only 2 runs figured into their average, but oh well. I tried many other times and I just can't be bothered to continue. Now let's move to chamber 2. Compared to the other 2 chambers, this chamber is by far the easiest out of the 3, with only 1 million HP per half. Also, the monsters are just easier to deal with. This is where I had my best time for chamber 2. This Burgeon national team works very well against this flying annoyance. But both my Hyperbloom teams weren't far behind in the first half against the dreaded Dendro Chicken. This is another example of why you might want to use Deepwood Memories on Alhaitham. It performed very close to my top ranked artifact set for him, the Gilded Dreams. Okay, now for the final chamber. Again, the best team here was my Burgeon national team. However, they were 21 seconds over the 90-second target time. But again, if you have a good second team, it would still be possible to 3-star this chamber. Fighting this new boss is actually pretty relaxing when you compare it to the rest of floor 12. But in the first half of chamber 3, it's a completely different story. These things are pretty annoying and have a lot of HP. With just over 2.3 million combined health, the first half of chamber 3 has the most HP in floor 12. So you'll probably need stronger artifacts, teams, or both to be able to 3-star this chamber with any of the teams that I tested. The second best team was my Bountiful Core team, but with going over the target time by nearly 45 seconds, this team did poorly here, and that's putting it nicely. Now this might not be the best Abys cycle for Alhaitham, but it's not the worst. I found that he can be very useful in the second half with a good Burgeon team, but there have been better cycles for him. If you want to see Alhaitham 36-star the Abys, feel free to check out my other Abys videos. Well, there you have it. This is how my best Alhaitham teams did in version 3.7 of the Abys. Before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, and why not help me hit my goal of 10,000 subscribers? It would seriously mean a lot, and it's free. I really enjoy making this type of content, so feel free to check out my other videos. I really appreciate you for making it to the end. You're honestly the best. I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe.